buff, right?
Yeah.
Basically, I used shots of whiskey as a buff this weekend as well. I guess I'll baton.
Yeah,
I'll grab the baton and then take the lead here. So Spine Day was this weekend.
Say Spine Day. Oh,
Yeah. So a couple of things about this weekend, I guess. But yeah, this weekend was Spine Day, and that means you're going in, and there's certain parts of the body that just suck more than others.
Yeah, teeth.
Teeth suck. Your spine sucks.
Teeth suck, but I don't. In the context of tattooing, I don't think that really.
No,
eyeballs.
but you said like what body parts are bad.
Eyeballs are the worst.
I think fingernails are pretty awful.
I still remember way
yeah.
back in the day there was that crack thing of like tattooing your eyeballs, understanding the horrible decision.
Fingernails are pretty lame.
You mean like painting your fingernails or like tattooing underneath your fingernails?
No, I just literally mean like if we're just objectively like stating.
Oh, I'm not a big
useless.
fan of how they keep growing.
Modern man doesn't really need them for function anymore.
I don't mind ears. They would be like awful, but like ears are
can't we
generally
just have
fine.
holes?
But there, you know that part where you feel like the cartilage?
Yeah.
That part sucks.
Yeah?
I don't like that part.
I'll be honest.
Because that's the part that can hurt.
99.9% of the time I'm unaware that I have ears at all.
Oh yeah.
But your ears would flop down without it because there needs to be some type of structure.
It's true. It's just that's the first part to hurt whenever something hits it, you know?
Fair enough.
Like the soft lobe at the bottom is totally a fine thing.
Well, if it dangles, we can punch a hole through it.
There you go. Or not, because I've
Or
got
a screwdriver.
I've got piercings on the top side as well of that. You can't ever see them because they're covered by dreads.
Yeah,
but
or Kirby.
But I don't have my
dreads.
lobes pierced. I have the top like cartilage part pierced.
One of my lobes is pierced, but like I haven't done anything with it in a long time, so probably closed up by now.
But yeah, so I was down at with May at Studio Ortiz, and basically I noticed last time, I think I mentioned it, that like when hitting the exhaustion point, a shot of whiskey was like, all right, we're back in there.
That'll kick you up for a bit.
Because it's horrible?
No, because it literally just, you feel a little bit more numb. You just feel a little bit more.
So what you're describing is actually less of a buff and more of like a useful debuff.
Yeah.
Sure. But it's what, you know the whole thing about
I didn't say horrible as in like I don't like a shot of whiskey. I just meant like how it shocks your body with like...
It's the same mentality behind, here, drink this bottle. All right, now we're going to pull the bullet out.
Yeah.
Here, drink this bottle. Now we're going to cauterize the wound.
And then we're going to pour it on the thing we're doing.
Yeah, you know that stuff?
Say it, I've seen lots... Now that I think about it, I've seen lots of movies or comic book panels where someone's getting a tattoo done and they're always swigging like a hard bottle of hardness.
Take a swig of this. We're going to pull that tooth out, etc., etc.
I fucking wish.
Like... all versions of that. It turns out, like again, there's just some truth to that. And knowing that today was going to be on the center of your back where the bumps are, where there's bone and thin skin, means you're going to feel it.
How was that?
It wasn't fantastic.
I bet.
But it wasn't the worst thing in the world. Like, by preparing for the worst, you know...
Well, so
it ends up being not that bad.
I'll ask you to try and quantify this. There's a really easy way to do this. You ever fucked yourself up and the doctor asks you, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being a trivial nothing and 10 being the worst pain you've ever felt in your life. Yeah. Where's it at?
So you had pretty much 3 hours of level 3. Level 3. But then occasionally when you hit the right nerve, it jumps up to 6.
Okay.
And then it goes back down to 3.
It's the time that seems by far the worst part of that.
And so that's what the whole thing is that tattooing is really an endurance run, because like you're having these little like just that level, right? Not much more beyond that, and occasionally but you're doing that for just a long period, and like you're sweating and you're kind of just like, okay, like, can I handle like just kind of like a low level ongoing thing? And that's where the whole like 3 hour limit sort of thing kicks in, where you're like, look, I mean, you can just kind of grit down and go through this, but ultimately like your body's kind of giving you a sign when you're sweating really hard at stuff that you weren't really flinching in in the beginning of the session.
So I have a question for you, a personal preference. Say it's 30 years in the future and we have some magical 3D printed super tattoo gun.
Yeah.
And it is It can be 3D printed to the size of your entire back, and it is just tens of thousands of micro needles that you just like a sticker.
What's the trade?
The trade is
it costs a lot.
No, same cost, but you're combining every single one of those three
into one shot,
into one instant.
So one really painful moment.
Okay, so
like it's a 10.
Effectively a burn.
It's a 10 on the scale. It's like a massive but it's over in like a second.
Yeah, run it. I'm down with that. The whole thing is that like low level prolonged pain is like. You can tolerate it, but it's
annoying.
But it's a discomfort kind of thing. But the thing is that like this is like low to mid, and it's over the course of hours. That would be massive, but in a second, in a matter of seconds, absolutely go for that. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, it's like ripping a Band-Aid off.
Sure.
I used to rip Band-Aids off the stupid way, and then. Then I had a real bad time with one, and then ever since then.
But yeah, that so that kind of got through the center lower area basically, and
so what's done currently?
Right now, what's done is you can't really see much of it in the stencil photo I put out, but the three ladies at the bottom are pretty much done. The center lady just needs her like. Head and face kind of done in the next time, but the lower, I'd say 35 to 40%.
Oh, cool. You're getting there.
Yeah. It's slowly but surely happening, and May's doing great. Kessel runs. This week was also Ribfest. So Ribfest again happening.
I'm furious when I found out.
Waltzed on down to that part of town.
It's like I could just eat meat now.
Yeah, if you're keto or carnivore, it's the place to be. Although that barbecue sauce ain't very friendly.
That's
whatever. That doesn't
susceptible
exist.
Losses.
Yeah. You take the hit.
Well, it was good because I saw that Ariane Saint Amour was there, so I was like, good.
Really?
So I didn't have to pre-run away.
Oh, because if you had if it's Ribfest too, then the possibility of just rib face is ongoing.
Oh boy. Well, that's why I went late and I went and did the I'm gonna take this to go back to my place situation.
I didn't know you do that.
So it wasn't so much the sauces on the beards. It wasn't a lot of that because that's a bad place to be. Thankfully,
but that's expected though.
It is expected, and they give you the rolls. They get they come prepared with it. But what if Ariane Saint Amour walks around, right? And then you're
hopefully she has rib face also.
That's true too.
But I had 2 layers of running. Which is general running, and then rib face running too. So no matter what,
when you rib face run, it's very cold because of the liquid.
But it's tasty.
Yeah.
So
as you're running away.
So there's it's like 6 or 7 different huge stands that come out, and I guess in America this must be common, especially in the South. But we don't really have barbecue competitions up here, right?
Not really.
So the whole thing of these places coming from out of town and setting up shop and putting up these massive trucker style boards, like the Hogfather with a pig dressed as the Godfather and everything. It's very elaborate and fun, and they all have these tables of trophies out front, and whoever has the biggest pile of trophies is clearly the best. So they're all trying to stack them in such a way and putting lights on them in such a way that it makes it seem like it's the most. But
when I think about competitions like this or just fests like this, I always think oh man, I hope there's backstage ska where people are sabotaging each other's shit. There's this guy that's sneaking and just puts a whole bunch of bleach in their fucking rib recipe.
I'm sure it'd come out with something nutty that they'd be like, yeah, that's not even that bad.
Well, this is actually the most refreshing ribs.
We put a bunch of mango juice in their fucking sauce. Let's see them.
And we walked away with just a pile of boxes, and then you just kind of sit down and you're like, oh man, this one's the best. Oh, that one sucks. Which ones were they? Because in the end they're kind of just generic labeled boxes, so you kind of don't really know which one you got from where.
In that respect,
yeah,
because you're walking around and go, wow, that was a good beer, and that was a good beer. Where beer? Where me? Where what?
So yeah, Ribfest
Man, I got destroyed that last beer fest.
Yeah,
because I found a cider. It was a rosé cider that was mixed with wine, and it was like this ungodly percent, and it was good.
Like, but they give you. Well, that's the thing. They give you a glass where you're not really supposed to go back. They give you a glass so that like you're supposed to use that to sample and like not get fucked up
and spit it out or some shit.
No.
like the beer fest is kind of like aware of the fact that this is alcohol fest, and they set it up as much as possible so you don't get blitzed.
I remember,
but if you keep going back, then you're going to get blitzed.
Back in the day when I found out that wine tasting, you were supposed to spit the wine out, and got confused. I didn't understand.
What you're supposed to do at beer fest is like taste it, like it, and instead of going back, you're supposed to go buy the case. And carry
like
that.
Get their card or
and carry that back.
This is my microbrew of choice.
Where they sell their stuff. Are you at SAQ? And then I'll go and whatever.
Or they usually they do have it live there too. So that's kind of the deal. But that was going down. That was pretty cool. Caught a burlesque show this weekend as well. Hanging out with Volta over at the Wiggle Room, and that was just like Asian themed.
It was Asian night.
It was just Asian night, Asian themed. And
Asian's amazing.
Yeah, and it was just hilarious because they're just like when they're doing their call outs are like, what do you guys, or they're just like, hey, you guys here, are you ready for the show? Yeah. And then like some girl just shouts out like, we're here for the Asians. And it was a weird and it's like, no, the girl that said it was Asian. And everyone was like, that was a weird way to say that. But no, it was a good time. It was fun. And as
the closer you get to pornography, the weirder the rules of conduct become.
So, that like burlesque always a fun time. And the Wiggle Room has great drinks. They have great cocktails.
I've never been, so
check it out. They have some of those fancy ones that use the egg whites in them, so you know that they've got that special consistency.
I've heard of it, I just never been.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it?
It's on Saint Laurent.
Okay.
And anytime you see a cocktail on a bar's list that has egg whites in it, like, it sounds like the weirdest thing ever.
Sure does.
But I promise you, it's actually super delicious. It adds like a consistency that is very different from the other normal mixed drinks. And it just has like a kind of bubbliness to it and a little bit of a flavor that just works. It just really, really works.
It's a madman that decided one day.
All the best cocktails I've had at all of the speakeasies I've been to have been the ones with egg white.
Probably he was like cracking an egg over a drink that he himself was drinking in the kitchen. And then the egg white falls in and he's just like, oh...
Yeah.
Oh no! And then it's like, whoa!
It just I really do feel like the whole mixology thing is like
mixology is neat.
Yeah, and like they were in the lab and they pulled the beaker out, and then someone realized that the same thing that works in culinary arts should work in mixology arts, and then poured a little bit in and saw the consistency.
I like Matt's version better.
Yeah.
I like the idea of like some drunk British guy. He's like 65 in some shithole pub. Going, my eggs.
Yeah.
And then just fuck it, I'll drink it anyway.
Did you ever see that documentary Cocktail?
No.
With Tom Cruise?
That's not a documentary.
I'm pretty sure it is, Wooly.
Okay, all right, that's fine. All right.
Absolutely
sure.
You know what? This actually might have come from a place of putting an egg in your beer for breakfast.
Why have I heard of that before?
You see it in The Wire. All the shoremen do it.
Right.
You have a beer with eggs in it and a shot for breakfast.
That's a whole other thing, though, because that's just not whites, and it's
it's the whole egg.
It's the whole fucking thing, and I'm thinking of like Will Smith trying to emulate Rocky. Cracking the egg into the glass, drinking it down, and then it just coming right back up.
It's not the taste, I don't imagine. It's the consistency. It's the texture.
Yeah, I'm a big...
It's the gloop.
I don't like weird textures.
Not to mention smell.
I went out there. I have almost no sense of smell.
There used to be... that was one thing in Grenada was... You know how occasionally you'd catch a skunk like somewhere here.
Oh yeah,
Yeah?
Right?
all the time.
In Grenada, there'd be like wild roosters, and there'd be like hens that are also kind of wild.
Okay.
And like sometimes they just lay eggs, and the eggs would just stay there for a while, and eventually crack or rot or whatever the fuck happens when an egg just sits around, and then like half a block is just nuked for like 3 days
Of rotten eggs.
because raw rotten egg that no one knows where it is just there now, and boy is that awful.
That sounds wonderful.
Yeah. So, you know, and rotten egg is really like similar to not rotten egg in smell, in my opinion. But you know,
I thought I was the one with the disabled sense of smell.
you need to smell a 10 one time to really like
10?
Yeah, because like even if you don't have like your disabled sense of smell, right? Because I know what you mean, because I have that too. It means that your low level smells just you get nothing.
Yeah, I get nothing.
But the intense ones are still just as bad.
Yeah, that's right. Like I can smell a skunk walking towards me from a block away.
Yeah, and like a 9 is a 9 for both of us. The only difference is like a 3 or a 2 just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Right, but your upper threshold still exists. It's like your EQ.
This sounds like a useful power to have.
I mean,
Though flowers smell like nothing, which is kind of depressing.
that is pretty sad.
Yeah. Stop and smell the flowers. Smells like daffodils, I guess. I don't know. Smells like grass.
I played a whole